Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do to circle prospect efficiently so you can sell more homes and make more money. My name is Jackie Kravitz with Sales X Training. Welcome to my channel. If you are here for the first time and you're a real estate agent who wants to sell more homes, make more money, and do it in less time, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell next to it so you're notified when we upload new videos, which happens every week. So how do you circle prospect effectively so you have the highest return on the time that you invest making these calls or door knocking? So when I say circle prospect, I'm referring to making neighborhood calls, selecting an area, a neighborhood, and calling every homeowner in that area. I also refer to it sometimes as making just listed and just sold calls. My first 2 years in real estate, I made massive amounts of just listed, just sold calls. I was calling expireds and FSBOs too my first year. But just listed, just sold calls are a lot easier. They're easier conversations. People are pleasant. They're not. They don't give you as many objections as FSBOs and expireds, although they're not as great prospects because think about it. Let's say you pick a neighborhood of 1,000 homes, and it could be bigger. Okay, I'm going to share with you what to think about when you're choosing the area that you're going to circle prospect. And by the way, these calls, these just listed, just sold calls, they should be part of the prospecting calls you make every day. They're just not your priority. Your priority are the expireds and the for sale by owners, then the people you know, a few past clients, sphere of influence. If you don't have any past clients yet, you're new, the people you know, your friends, relatives, whatever. And then when you've done all of those calls, you're going to make circle prospecting calls. And for most of you, depending on how large a geographic area you're selling real estate in, you're going to have to end up making some calls because you may not always have enough for sale by owners and expireds. And okay, look, let me focus on the just listed, just sold conversation because I was going in a direction and I could just change the topic of this video. So just listed and sold, just sold calls, they are effective calls. They're not as effective as expireds and FSBOs because obviously when you're calling FSBOs and expireds, you're talking to people who want to sell. And the whole reason why you would make just listed, just sold call in this neighborhood is to find someone who wants to sell. The challenge is that in comparison to expireds and FSBOs, every FSBO you call or talk to wants to sell. Their house is for sale and they don't have a realtor yet. Expired listings, 40 to 50% relist within 72 hours, another 30%, 40% within 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, these are hot prospects, whereas you pick an area of 1,000 homes and you may talk to 500 people to find somebody who wants to sell. Maybe you get lucky and you talk to 100 and you find someone who wants to sell. And still, most of the ones that you find that want to sell, they're not looking to sell right now, like today. They're ready to list. They'll give you an appointment immediately for today or tomorrow, and they're ready to list the property. I mean, the chances of you just calling a random neighborhood and finding someone who wants to sell right now, it's going to be a few hundred calls or who knows how many. Okay, I've done a lot of those calls. I have a lot of clients that makes those calls. It doesn't mean that they're not great calls to make and you shouldn't make it. Yes, you should, but not. The order of priority is new expireds, for sale by owners, the people in your database, and then just listed, just sold calls. for the obvious reason that I just finished referring to. How do you select the area? There are a few things that you should consider. You want to look at these just listed, just sold calls as, I guess I'm going to refer to it as a phone farm. Most real estate agents know what a farm is. It's a geographic area that you are going to plant seeds so you can reap the listing results. Planting seeds can happen in the form of mailing them something a few times a year, emailing all the homeowners in this geographic area, probably monthly, doing some community events in that area, really go door knocking in that area, call all the homeowners there. There are several things you can do to farm this area and start reaping the results. So you concentrate in a specific area. Now, this kind of geographic farming, it's gonna take a little bit of time for you to start gaining some momentum and start taking listings. Again, and you should be calling obviously the expireds that come up in that geographic area, for sale by owners, old expired listings, a lot of things to do. When I got into real estate, I had no money, like zero, like actually living paycheck to paycheck, and it wasn't even my paycheck, it was my ex-husband's paycheck because he used to have a job. I was a stay-at-home mom. So I had no money to, oh, let's create some mailings and go do this. I had no time to go door knocking because when you're farming an area, seeing people face to face is great. But I had two little kids and I'm cooking and cleaning, taking care of the house. So I had nights and weekends to prospect, and I was very determined to make the best use of my time. So all I did was call, and look for listings. I didn't want to work with buyers. I know how time consuming that is. So I didn't really select, okay, this area that I started calling on. I, brand new to real estate, zero experience, no confidence, had no idea what I was doing. I just decided to call where I lived because there was a certain comfort level there. I know the streets. I know the model of the houses. The price range is where I live. So the average price there was probably $130,000. We're talking about 1996. So I felt comfortable there. I didn't want to go pick an area and figure it out like a higher price range. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to, it was already uncomfortable enough to talk to people I don't know. I was calling expireds and FSBOs. It's not like I was just doing that. I was getting outside of my comfort zone in many ways, which you need to do to make millions in real estate, okay? But I didn't, first of all, nobody told me, well, if you're gonna pick an area to make phone calls, think about this, think about that. I'm like, no, I just picked where I was living. What you really should do is obviously select an area with a pretty nice average price. I mean, if I could have started calling an area average price 300,000 versus 130, I would have more than doubled my income in those first couple of years when I was making a lot of these calls, but I didn't. Now, also, when you choose the area, make sure that, do a market study. Go look at all in the MLS, go search for how many active listings are in that area right now, how many sold last year, how many expired, go learn about the area. When you look at the active listings and the sales in the last 12 months, see if there's a common denominator of a listing agent who seems to have a large percentage of the listings in this area. Because could you start calling this area and take over even though there's a dominant agent? Yeah, you can, but it would be easier if there isn't a dominant agent. So you got to use your common sense. I mean, that's just common sense. the area that I started calling, there was a dominant agent, and I was still able to take a lot of listings in that area in my first 2 years, but I never thought about it. I knew I see this agent sign everywhere in the neighborhood when I'm driving around. I never went in the MLS, but it's like, it was not something, it was not in my mind. I wasn't even considering that. So it would be easier if you don't have to deal with the dominant agent. Another thing you want to look at is the turnover rate. You want to, if you select an area of 1,000 homes, ideally you would have at least 5% of the homes. The 1,000 is just an example, okay? It could be bigger. It should be bigger if you're going to do a phone farm, because that's what I'm talking about here. Just listed, just sold calls, circle prospecting. I'm not talking about mailing anything. I'm not really into that, although if you have money to do it, now you go find how to do that in a different, with somebody else, okay? Because that's not my expertise. My expertise is prospecting. So now you want to make sure there's at least a 5% turnover rate. So if you're looking at 1,000 homes, every year 50 homes should sell, about 50 homes minimum, because if the turnover rate is very low, it's 1 or 2%. I mean, why are you going to put all your effort into this area where very few homes sell per year when you could choose a different one where there's a higher rate of turnover? So these are two very important things to consider. I trust you got a lot of great ideas, and if you have any questions on this video, please comment below. I answer all of them. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel too. Click the bell next to it so you're notified when we upload new videos, and I'll see you soon.